Hey, goddesses and gods, welcome to this day's transmission. This is Taboo Talks number 7. This is America, home of the greed, land of the caged. I took my time to write everything out so I wouldn't miss any important points, and I printed everything out. So I'm going to be reading you guys what I wrote so that you can hear everything, and I make sure that no point is missing. Usually, I like to just freelance and talk or whatever, but this topic is too serious, too deep for me to miss any important information. So, you guys are going to hear what I wrote. This is my perspective, my lived analysis, and my understanding of how this system operates. I'm not telling anyone what to do, I'm telling you what I see. When you finally see the illusion and you're giving a pathway out, it would be insanity to continue going forward like nothing changed. After this taboo talk, there is no unseeing what you're about to hear. Today, I'm exposing and revealing what is really going on in this country, how this system functions, how it's built, or how it was built, and why America is not what it claims to be. This is not feelings, this is about truth. If you can't get this after hearing it, then honestly, I don't know what to say. The frame. What this talk is actually about. This talk is specifically about America. Not every system everywhere. Not every country. Not every structure. America, home of the greed, land of the caged. People love to say freedom, but freedom does not exist where control, extraction, indoctrination, and suppression are built into every layer of life. And before anyone twists my words, all systems are not bad. Systems are tools. What matters is who designs them, why they're designed, and who they benefit. Before colonization, how life actually functioned. Before colonizers ever set foot on this land, there was no obsession with ownership. The people were inseparable from the land. We were the land. There was no need to claim dirt when everyone lived on the dirt together. People had tribes, communities, families. Homes were built together. Life was community-oriented, family-oriented, cooperative, welcoming, kind, and connected. Was everything perfect? No. There were conflicts. There was violence at times. I'm not denying that, but life was open, free, and not systemized into control structures. Here's the critical truth. If even a loose defensive system had existed back then, not from domination but for protection, history would look very different today. How colonization actually happened. Colonizers didn't just arrive. They brought disease, measles, smallpox, infected blankets, biological warfare. They observed, they watched, they learned how to grow food here, how to work, how the lands worked, how the people lived. They copied what they saw, and that copying still exists in their descendants today. Once they had the information, they formed a plan. Take the land, enslave the people already here, and force them to build the infrastructure, control them permanently. This wasn't one nation. It took many countries working together to conquer the people already living here. They came prepared for takeover. Guns, weapons, militarized systems. The people here had bows, arrows, tools for living, not tools for invasion. That imbalance is what allowed genocide, enslavement, and theft to happen. Systems. Why all systems are not bad? Let me be clear. The problem isn't systems. The problem is systems designed for domination. If a protective, cooperative system had existed, one that unified tribes when outsiders arrived, colonization would not have been successful. Instead, the system that was created by colonizers were designed to take, control, extract, enslave, ensure their descendants would never suffer the vulnerability they once faced. That system still exists today. Prisoners of war, race, and classification. Black people in America, from America, aka indigenous people in America, were treated as prisoners of war. Native Americans assisted in the conquest through trickery and exploitation. People who come here from other countries, especially those not dark-skinned or those with foreign names and accents, often have a very different experience. They're classified differently. They're seen as useful, educated, employable, profitable. Foreign black immigrants are often treated better than black people whose families have been here for generations, because the system does not see them as belonging to the land. The descendants of colonized people are suppressed because they are indigenous, native to the land. They are kept trapped, controlled, and exploited, but never fully removed because their labor, intelligence, creativity, and ideas are needed to keep the system running. They don't want us gone, they want us working. Human rights and silence. Human rights are violated in this country every single day by government entities and fear-based organizations. There is rarely accountability, no consequences, no justice. Protests are deliberately not covered by media on some occasions, so the world doesn't see exactly what's happening. Journalists are arrested to send a message to be quiet. This is how control works. Silence dissent. Criminalize truth. Intimidate witnesses. Religion as a control mechanism. Religion plays a massive role in maintaining this system. Manufactured religious systems strip people of sovereignty and godliness. They externalize power. They teach obedience, fear, sin, hell. People are conditioned to give their authority to someone invisible, something that does not materially liberate them, while colonizers define what that God wants. This is psychological control. It creates dependency, fear, and submission, not freedom. Education, indoctrination disguised as learning. School is not about education. It's about conditioning. Children pledge allegiance to the flag at an age when they don't even understand what allegiance means. That's not accidental. They are trained to memorize, obey, repeat, work. Art is removed. Creativity is discouraged. Individual talents are ignored. And they do this for 5 years because it takes 5 years to master a habit or a skill. And so that's one that they definitely want to make sure is crisp and concrete in every child going to school. No one teaches communication, financial literacy, relationship skills, land stewardship, identifying all plants, animals, herbs, and land materials, survival skills, home skills, health, food cultivation, free expression, embodied understanding of ourselves as goddesses and gods, not the myths or cartoons. 12 years of schooling trains people for extraction, not freedom. College deepens the trap. Debt, wasted time, degrees that don't lead to stability. Families are split apart. Parents work constantly. Children are raised by systems. Marriages fail. Communities collapse. This is design, not coincidence. Biological and environmental control. The food is poisoned. The water is polluted. The air is contaminated. Chemicals disrupt hormones, mental health, and behavior. Obesity, anxiety, depression, and chronic illness are profitable outcomes. Pharmaceuticals maintain symptoms. Natural remedies are suppressed or criminalized. This system keeps people sick, confused, exhausted, dependent, compliant. Brainwashing is the result, to the point where critical thinking decreases and the system as it operates is seen as natural, fine, and to be feared and obeyed. Planned obsolescence and artificial scarcity. Nothing is built to last anymore, on purpose. Clothes harm the body. Products are cheaply made and quickly made. Houses are fragile. Cars are designed to fail. There is no reason we shouldn't have long-lasting homes, sustainable materials, solar-powered vehicles, technology that serves life instead of exploiting it. But dependence is profitable. Waste is profitable. Rebuying is profitable. So they keep us buying, replacing, fixing, and struggling. Homes are no longer built with gold trimmings, artistic flair, vibration-infused shapes for acoustics, nor materials that last or sustain food and water. Even cars, vehicles, products, clothing, and homes are made with planned failure in mind. You should be able to buy something once and pass it down for generations. That would be sustainable. That would be freedom. The truth. This system is not built for human thriving. It is not built for sovereignty. It is not built for our people indigenous to this land. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Resolutions. Making the system irrelevant. What do we do once we see it? Because knowing the truth without action just becomes another prison. Freedom does not come from rebellion alone. Freedom comes from self-mastery, preparation, and sovereignty. Number 1, reclaim the mind first. Deconstruct religious programming that stripped you of your godliness. Release fear of punishment, hell, sin, or obedience narratives. Restore yourself as the authority over your own life. You were not created to submit. You were created to generate, create, and govern yourself. 2, educate yourself outside the system. Stop waiting for institutions to teach you what they were designed to hide. Learn how money actually works, how to budget, protect, and grow resources, how to communicate clearly and consciously, how to build relationships without dependency or control, how to identify plants, herbs, foods, and natural remedies, how to grow food, how to purify water, how to live without constant external consumption. True education is applied knowledge, not memorization. Strategic planning, overreaction. Every sovereign household needs a strategic plan, not panic, not fear, not impulse. A real plan answers, where can I live sustainably? What resources do I actually need? What skills make me adaptable anywhere? How do I reduce dependency on fragile systems? How do I protect my family regardless of political shifts? Sovereignty values mobility, adaptability, and resilience. Number 4, withdraw energy from the system. The system survives on participation. You don't dismantle them by yelling at them. You dismantle them by outgrowing them, consuming less, creating more, repairing instead of replacing, choosing quality over quantity, supporting parallel economies and independent creators, reducing unnecessary debt. When enough people stop feeding the machine, it starves. Number 5, restore the body as sacred technology. Your body is not disposable. It is not a product. Reclaim it by eating cleaner, simpler foods, reducing chemical exposure, learning what affects your hormones and mental health, moving your body intentionally, and resting without guilt. A regulated nervous system is a weapon against control. A sick, exhausted population is easy to dominate. 6, build parallel living, not permission. The future is not reforming broken systems. The future is parallel structures, smaller, conscious, intentional. Families that actually know each other. Communities that share skills. People who can live without constant surveillance and dependency. This is practical sovereignty. The closing truth. Once you see the illusion, you are responsible for what you do next. You cannot claim ignorance anymore. You cannot say you didn't know. This was Taboo Talk. I showed you what was hidden. I gave you clarity, not comfort. What you do now determines whether you remain caged or step inside the divine, sovereign life you are always meant to live. See you on the next one.